There are people who feel genuinely safer at home than anywhere else in the world. Not just comfortable, safe. You'll find them declining invitations, working remotely when possible, ordering delivery instead of dining out. The relief when they close their door, the exhale, the feeling of finally being protected. They aren't agoraphobic or antisocial or afraid of life. They've simply discovered that home is where their nervous system stops screaming danger. But here's what nobody talks about. Even they wonder if this is healthy. They watch others move through the world effortlessly and question whether their need for home as sanctuary means something's broken inside them. Every moment outside feels like low-grade threat to their nervous system. Psychologists describe this as environmental hypervigilance and sanctuary seeking. It's not about danger being real, it's about how their brain processes the unpredictability of external environments. Outside means variables they can't control, strangers, noises, unexpected situations, stimuli coming from every direction. Researchers studying anxiety find that some individuals require significantly more environmental control to feel safe. Their home isn't just shelter, it's the only space where every variable is known. What looks like excessive attachment to home is actually a nervous system finding the one place it can finally stop scanning for threats. Here's the paradox. They can function in the world and still count the minutes until they're home again. They can appear confident outside, yet feel profound relief crossing their threshold. They want to enjoy being out, but their body keeps whispering, "Not safe, not safe, not safe." So home becomes more than residence, it becomes refuge. If you've ever felt your entire body relax the moment you walk through your door, felt safer in your room than anywhere else, you know this isn't laziness. The world calls it homebody behavior. They experience it as survival. We live in a culture that celebrates adventurousness, travel, exploration, trying new places. Those who prefer staying home get labeled boring, sheltered, missing out on life. But what if the entire framework misses something crucial? What if some nervous systems genuinely require home-based stability to function? Scientists studying temperament find that environmental sensitivity varies dramatically. What if feeling safer at home isn't limitation, but self-knowledge? The world insists real living happens out there. They've discovered real living requires a safe place to return to. This pattern often begins in childhood. Maybe they grew up in an unsafe world, where home was the only predictable space, where outside meant chaos or danger or judgment. So their nervous system learned safety lives inside these walls. Or perhaps they were highly sensitive children in an overwhelming world, where home became the only place their system could decompress. Over time, that association strengthened. Home equals safety became wired into their biology, not because they're weak, but because their brain created an anchor point in an unpredictable world. The pattern isn't pathological, it's adaptive. But here's the truth. People who feel safer at home often possess deep self-awareness about their nervous system needs. They're not in denial about what depletes them. They've learned that protecting their safe space isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Research on boundaries shows that knowing your limits prevents burnout and breakdown. Their home preference isn't about avoiding life, it's about creating conditions where they can actually live well. But the gift becomes prison when home stops being chosen sanctuary and becomes fearful hiding place, when they want to leave but can't. Psychologists call it the safety zone constriction. It begins when home feels safe and outside feels threatening. The contrast grows. Each time they venture out and feel uncomfortable, coming home feels more relieving. The relief reinforces staying. Soon their comfort zone shrinks. Simple errands feel daunting. Social events feel impossible. What started as preference becomes prison. Their world gets smaller until home isn't sanctuary. It's the only place they can exist without panic. That's when healthy home preference becomes problematic isolation. In ancient times, having a secure home base meant survival, a cave, a shelter, the place where you were protected during vulnerability. That instinct remains embedded, but modern life demands we venture far from home base regularly. For people whose nervous systems still crave ancestral security, this creates constant low-level stress. They're not broken, they're operating with ancient wiring in a modern context. Their need for home as safe haven isn't dysfunction, it's biology meeting contemporary demands and struggling with the mismatch. The path forward isn't forcing themselves to love being out, it's understanding whether their home preference serves or limits them. If they're choosing home from genuine preference, honor it completely. But if fear is making the choice, that's worth examining. That might mean small exposures to build tolerance, brief trips, low-stakes outings, gradually expanding their safe zone. It means asking, does staying home energize me, or is it the only place I don't feel anxious? The answer reveals whether this is healthy preference or fear-based avoidance limiting their life. Why does home feel uniquely safe? Because it's the only environment they completely control. Every object is where they placed it. Every sound is expected or explained. Every person present is chosen. Psychologists studying control and anxiety explain that control reduces threat response. Home offers what the world cannot: total environmental agency. Their preference for home isn't about weakness, it's about a nervous system that requires known variables to stop activating stress responses that exhaust them everywhere else. Here's what others miss. People who feel safer at home often create incredibly rich internal worlds. They're not hiding from life, they're living it differently. Their depth comes from the stability their home provides. When they have secure base, they can venture out meaningfully. Their home isn't escape from the world, it's the foundation that makes engaging the world possible. They've learned that you don't have to love being everywhere to live fully, that safety matters, that home can be both refuge and launchpad. People who feel safer at home aren't broken or limited. They're honoring a nervous system need that modern culture doesn't validate, but biology demands. They've learned that home as sanctuary isn't something to outgrow, it's something to maintain while also staying open to the world when it calls them. The path forward isn't leaving home behind, it's making home secure enough that leaving becomes possible. When they finally stop apologizing for needing home as safe space, they discover it's not weakness, it's the foundation from which all their strength grows. That's not hiding, that's building a life on stable ground.